Hello and welcome to the video. I'm Will. Today we'll be discussing Reddit's introduction of fees for its API and comparing it to the downfall of the previous king of social bookmarking, Digg.com. We will ask ourselves, is Reddit digging its own grave? First, we need to wind back the clock to around the year 2006. Prior to this time, I got most of my news from various blogs, but then I discovered something new. A website that would start to change the way I engage with the internet forever, and that was Digg.com. Not only did I discover Digg, but also around this time I started consuming podcasts, and I joined Twitter when it was just a hatchling. These were the early days of Web 2.0. Digg, like Reddit, share some of the same ideas. They are both social bookmarking websites where users can share links and, in Digg's case, dig them up, or bury stories. Digg was quite simple in comparison to modern Reddit, as it only allowed for the sharing of links, no self-posts or images could be uploaded to the site. And it had a limited set of channels for you to post in, unlike Reddit's infinite number of subreddits. Digg's original channels were technology, science, world and business, videos, entertainment, and gaming. This would later expand to lifestyle, sports, and offbeat. However, Digg is quite unique compared to Reddit. It was a multimedia phenomenon, in a way Reddit never was and probably never will be. Its founder, Kevin Rose, was once a TV personality hosting shows on Tech TV and G4, and was a frequent guest on early popular podcasts of the time, such as This Week in Tech, which was also hosted by former Tech TV personalities. Kevin was not just the founder of Digg, he was the face. He was very involved, even hosting an early video podcast, which was an extension of Digg itself, Diggnation. Kevin and his co-host, Alex Albrecht, fueled by beer, would cover the top headlines of Digg.com from the week prior. It seemed Kevin was a rising star in the tech industry at the time. In the early tech-heavy days of Twitter, Kevin Rose, for example, was the most followed person on the platform. But what kind of content would you see on Digg? The average digger was young, educated, with a passion for science, technology, world news, and pop culture. On an average day on Digg, you might see an ASCII head of Professor Farnsworth with the comment, "Good news, everyone!" or a comment by Binky79 on the latest XKCD going, "This is the best XKCD ever." Digg in its prime was not without controversy. Like Reddit, it had power users who were controlling what could and could not be seen on the platform. One notorious example was Mr. Babyman, who was one of Digg's most well-known power users. While it is hard for me to say, there is an article stating it was just a hobby for him, and he even did a Reddit AMA at one point, explaining what he did. A few years later, a former Digg employee stated that Mr. Babyman was digging stories basically 24/7, or had others digging for him. Regardless, Digg did have a problem with people selling digs and getting their stories on the front page of Digg. However, the community was doing fine. For years, the Diggnation episodes just kept coming out, and Digg was the force to be reckoned with. A few years would pass, the iPhone would come out, Facebook was taking the world by storm, and a new competitor was rising called Reddit. I was already trying this Reddit website to engage with some of the smaller communities, such as the Team Fortress 2 community, but I was still using Digg heavily. I found Reddit quite ugly and plain, and still preferred Digg. So in an effort to make Digg more competitive and more appealing to a wider base of users, and by extension more advertisers, Digg would undergo a radical redesign. This would be Digg v4, and these drastic changes changed fundamentally what made Digg Digg. Digg v4 would launch August 25th, 2010, and it did many things to enrage the Digg user base. For example, there was a radical redesign of the user experience. The algorithm was changed, so recent submissions were seen over popular content. Removal of user moderation features. The bury function was removed. You could no longer dislike something. YouTube, I think that sounds familiar. Lack of communication and consultation with the user base. Shifts towards featuring more mainstream content, basically trying to appeal to everyone and thus no one. The new Digg was incredibly unstable, even having the fail trail, a la Twitter's fail whale, showing all too often after the switch. Ironically, one of the new features was the ability to auto-post via RSS. People started using Reddit's feeds, and before you knew it, Digg was Reddit. The user base was in full revolt, and we all left for Reddit. It was flooded with Reddit posts, and there was a lot of anti-Digg sentiment. Meanwhile, on Reddit, it was preparing to take in the refugees from the Digg exodus. The damage was done and Digg would never recover. According to the now defunct Alexa.com, Reddit would overtake Digg by the end of August, less than a week after the launch of Digg v4. This would lead to Digg's demise. On March 19th, 2011, Kevin Rose would leave Digg, and a few months later, on December 30th, 2011, the last Diggnation would air. Digg attempted to fix itself, reintroducing Barry, but it was too late. By August 1st, 2012, Digg was unrecognizable, turning back into a startup and looked similar to the large icon website we see today. While making this video, I tried to post a story to the new Digg, but the button to do so did not seem to work, and when I visited the FAQ page, it failed to load. So it seems unlikely in 2023 that Digg will be a safe haven for ex-Reddit users. Now that Digg's out of the way, what's going on with Reddit? Reddit is adding costs to use their API, which makes it financially impossible for most third parties to use the API. The change is going into effect in July. Between June 12th and June 14th, subreddits will go dark to protest the astronomical costs of the Reddit API, and as stated before, it was previously free. Do I think Reddit will meet the same fate as Digg after the new API fee structure is introduced? No, at least not as quickly. Digg radically changed the way users interact with the website, and it had a competent competitor with more advanced features, Reddit. And at least for me, I use Reddit pretty much exactly how I used Digg back in the day. If anything, I engage more with it. As of now, I can't think of any other website I would want to go to. Reddit was, as it still kind of is, a very nerdy techie place, and a natural place for most Digg users to gravitate towards. While I don't like what Reddit's doing, I think it's trying to gain control over its own platform, which makes a lot of sense if they're trying to IPO and go public. Once again, let's rewind the clock, this time to 2005, the birth of Reddit. Reddit was founded by Steve Huffman, Alexis Ohanian, and Aaron Swartz. If you know anything about Aaron Swartz, he was a brilliant programmer and internet activist. Not only did he contribute to Reddit's codebase, he contributed heavily to the RSS standard, which would lead to the creation of podcasting. And beyond providing his technical skills, Aaron infused early Reddit with some of his own ideals and philosophies in open source and the free flow of information. I would say it was not Huffman or Ohanian that made Reddit Digg's successor, but it was Aaron Swartz. 18 years has passed since Reddit was created, and Reddit has grown up. And while some of its openness remains, the locking down of the API will snuff a little bit more of that spark out, as Reddit attempts to transition to a publicly traded company. As of writing this, third-party apps like Apollo and Reddit is Fun have already announced they are shutting down. In addition, these apps are small potatoes for Reddit. Apollo for Reddit only had 5 million installs. Reddit is Fun for Android about the same, but the official Reddit app for Android on the US store alone had 100 million plus installs. Reddit no longer needs these apps. They are a relic from another time. From a business perspective, this makes sense. As Confucius once said, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And right now, Reddit don't make sense. Reddit is not profitable. And maybe they are sitting on a gold mine with all that user-generated content being posted every day. And some other company perhaps, maybe an AI company, might be more than happy to pay for access to train their models. Reddit wants to clean up its books and ensure future revenue, and I can't blame them for trying. And if they can pull this off, it'll be very good for Reddit, the company, at the expense of Reddit, the community. I think Reddit, the company, has made up its mind. It's not the first time the user base nearly went into revolt and the site survived. Who could forget Ellen Powell? To be honest, I forgot what occurred, but I remembered the hive mind hated her. But what exactly did she do? Apparently attention was first drawn to the CEO when 5 subreddits were banned for off-site harassment. However, what really turned things against her was when Victoria Taylor, the employee who organized the Ask Me Anythings at the time, was fired. Similar, as to what's going on now, subreddits went dark, and the users won, with Powell leaving and being replaced with co-founder Steve Huffman. It was later revealed by another former Reddit CEO, Yixing Wang, that the co-founder, Alexis Ohanian, fired Victoria, not Powell. As they say, we did it, Reddit! Personally, I have not used third-party Reddit apps, nor do I engage with the API. I used to just use old reddit.com till they shoved the app in my face many times. And eventually I switched. I consider myself a fairly tech-savvy person, and I could not be bothered to use a third-party app. If I'm an indicator, and maybe I'm a bit cynical, I think most users simply won't care. Some subs will go dark, maybe forever, but Reddit will likely survive. Some users might leave, others might come back. Reddit will survive, but for how long, that's hard to say. Nothing lasts forever, at least not yet. The primary value of Reddit is its user base, but If the user base wanted to go somewhere else, there must be somewhere else for them to go. As of writing, I don't know what place that would be. There are Reddit clones, but that's kind of the problem. They're just Reddit clones. Digg failed at being Digg, and Reddit was far more than just a Digg clone. In addition, Reddit is far larger than Digg ever was. A mass exodus of users would likely overload whatever platform the users go to. My final thoughts. Websites like Digg and Reddit cost money to run and build. They are businesses first and communities second. The web has changed a lot since its inception in the 90s. If you are unhappy with these changes, don't beg Reddit to go fix them. Go out yourself and learn how to create your own blog. Learn to use an RSS reader. Join or create a forum. While websites like Reddit are great, one of the original ideas behind them was to drive content to other websites. It was a symbiotic relationship, and this was very much the ethos of Web 2.0. There was a time, not very long ago, where a Facebook user could send an instant message to a Google user via an open source chat app like Pigeon or Adium. Could you imagine that in 2023? But now we live in a world of walled gardens. Maybe it's time we climb up to the top of the wall and see what's out there. What do you think? Will Reddit survive? What would a competitor look like? Leave a comment and let me know. Well, that's it for the video. If you liked it, upvote it. If you didn't, bury it. Subscribe for more me. My content is a bit experimental and eclectic at the moment, so I'm still trying to find my footing on YouTube. But if you like the sound of my voice, subscribe and watch. Oh, and for those of you who have stuck around, I have lots of goodies for you in the video description. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.